July 19. Is it possible to have each witness pronounce and spell their name? Thank you for considering this question and the juror name and juror number. I'd like to look at please say yes to that. I'm going to put yes on the note and send it back. Okay. We're ready to proceed. And so, principal call next witness.
Lauren Zoeckler. Lauren Zoeckler.
Right here now.
Ms. Zoeckler, if you'd raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Could you please state your name and spell it for the court reporter?
Lauren Zoeckler, Lauren Zoeckler.
Ms. Zoeckler, what is your occupation?
I'm a teacher
And where are you a teacher?
in Butts County.
And how long have you been teaching for?
This will be my 9th year.
Okay. Can I ask you to please bring the microphone closer to you, or you closer to the microphone? Do you know Jennifer and Joseph Rosenbaum?
Yes.
And how did you come to know them?
We met online through a CF Wives support group. Online.
An online through a what support group?
CF Wives support group.
Okay. What is CFY?
Wives.
CF Wives.
It's a support group for people married to someone with CF.
And what's CF stand for?
Cystic fibrosis.
Okay. And what, you are a wife of somebody who suffers from cystic fibrosis?
Yes, ma'am.
And who would that be?
My husband, Jason.
Okay. And so, did you and the Rosenbaums and you become friends at some point?
Yes.
And did you do things as couples?
Yes.
Were there game nights,
Yes.
barbecues,
Yes, ma'am.
pool times,
Yes.
eating out,
Yes.
and attending church?
Yes.
And when did you have your first child?
June 2014.
And that child was Kaylee?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you suffer from high blood pressure at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Jennifer stay at the hospital
Yes, ma'am.
the whole night with you?
Most of it, yes, yes.
And when you came home, you had to go back to the ER, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And who did you call to come stay with your newborn?
My mother-in-law and Jennifer came until she got there.
Okay. And how old was Kaylee? How many weeks? Or
A few days.
a few days old. How did you find out, if you did, about Jennifer and Joseph getting foster children?
Through Jennifer.
Okay. And how was Jennifer when she found out she was going to foster kids?
She was telling me that she wanted to. She was telling me that she wanted to. She was excited.
And did you see the Rosenbaums after they got the children? Did you see them?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you continue to see them socially?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you see any evidence of bruises, marks, or cuts or abrasions?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay. And you are a mandated reporter, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you see abuse, you have to report it, isn't that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've never reported anything to do with Millie and Layla, have you?
No, ma'am.
If you had seen any evidence of abuse, what would you have done?
I would have reported it.
Okay. How did Layla and Millie behave when you saw them?
Like a normal little kids playful.
Did they act frightened or scared of either Jennifer or Joseph?
No, ma'am.
And did the children appear close to Jennifer and Joseph or not?
Normal. I mean. Mm-hmm.
And how was Jennifer with them? How did she interact with them?
Again, I would say a normal relationship, you would think.
Normal relationship between whom?
A parent and a child.
Okay. And you have said before that Layla was clingy, right? And how did that manifest itself? What did you see that
I mean,
led
there
you
was
to...
just a couple of times when I would be there, she would just want to sit in her lap instead of playing with Millie and my daughter.
Okay. Millie and your daughter are of what age?
Well, my daughter was only 1, and so Millie was 4.
Okay. How was Layla towards other people?
Loving.
Did she appear to want to be held by them?
I mean, she liked everybody. She was very sweet.
Okay. Now, did Jennifer keep the kids holed up at home, or did they go out in the community?
We went out a lot.
And where do you recall they went out?
Church and fall festivals, Chick-fil-A, just normal routines.
Did you go to any birthday parties of Millie or Layla?
Both. Layla's was at home, and Millie's was at Noah's Ark.
And what do you remember specifically about them?
Which one? Either.
Either one.
Just people came over at their house for Layla's, just games, food. Millie's, same thing, ate at the park, then went around.
Do you recall a time when Millie's birthday, do you recall that?
At Noah's Ark?
Noah's Ark. Do you recall having seen the girls undressed at that time?
Yeah, we changed Layla quickly in the park because she was wearing an Olaf costume and she was hot.
And so what did you put her in?
Her regular clothes.
Okay. And did Millie change that day or not?
I don't remember. She probably did because she was wearing Elsa, but I don't recall.
Okay. During the course of knowing the girls, did you ever see any indication of cuts, bruises, abrasions, anything of that nature?
Nothing that brought to my attention now.
And did Kaylee have a first birthday party on June 7th, 2015?
If it was a Saturday, probably. That is her birthday.
And did Millie and Layla attend?
I believe so.
And while Millie and Layla were living with the Rosenbaums, did you see them at the Rosenbaum home?
Yes.
Did you see them at the pool?
Yes.
And it's fair to say you lived at that time a couple doors down from the Rosenbaums.
Well, in the same neighborhood, a couple streets over, but yes.
Okay. And
Or A Street.
A Street over? Okay. Did you have them at your home, Millie and Layla and Mr. and Mrs.
Probably
Rosenbaum?
once or twice.
And did you all go to birthday parties and other social events together?
Yes.
And did you attend church at Turning Point with them?
Yes. Yes.
On July 4th, 2015, were you all together at your house for a cookout?
Probably.
Did you all go to the Come Out and Play Saturday event in Hampton, Georgia?
Yes.
And that was August 22nd, 2015, correct?
Probably.
What did the kids do there at that event?
They had a lot of vendors, bounce houses, splash pad was open, stuff like that.
Okay. Were they in their bathing suits?
Yes.
And did they play on the inflatable bouncy house?
Yes.
Did you at any point report to defects or to the police any concerns you had?
No.
Did you attend Millie's birthday on October 17th, 2015
Yes.
at Noah's Festival? Was it cold out that day?
I don't think it was. I don't remember.
Okay. That's fine. If you don't remember, please say so. After the birthday, did you all walk around the fall festival and animal habitat at Noah's
Yes.
Ark? When you changed Layla, were there other people in sight of you changing her?
Oh yeah, everybody was there.
Okay. Miss Banks there, do you remember whether Peggy Banks was there?
She was at the party.
She was at the party. And did you attend on October 30th, 2015, did you attend the Turning Point Church Halloween Fall Festival?
Probably. I know I don't remember the year, but I know I've gone to a few years, so yes.
Did you see Millie and Layla with Jennifer there?
Yes.
Now, on October 31st, 2015, did you come by the Rosenbaum home while trick-or-treating?
Yes.
And did you see Millie and Layla getting ready to go out trick-or-treating?
Yes.
Were there on other occasions that you were with the Rosenbaums and Layla and Millie?
Maybe.
Okay. Were you there most Sundays at church?
Most Sundays.
And did you and Jennifer drop the girls off at the church daycare?
Yes.
Did you both have to leave diapers so that Kaylee and Layla could be changed if necessary?
Yes, you leave your diaper bag.
Okay. You sometimes go out after church to Sticky Cactus Mexican?
We had. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you and the Rosenbaum have dinner at each other's house?
Sometimes.
And you saw Millie and Layla during these occasions?
Yes.
Even your and your husband's family met the girls, correct?
At birthday parties, yeah.
Yes. And did they appear anything but happy and healthy to you?
Yeah, happy. Mm-hmm.
Did they appear healthy
Yes.
to you?
Yes.
Did they favor any arm?
Not that I recall.
Did they favor any leg?
Not that I recall.
Did they complain to you of arm pain or leg pain?
Not that I recall.
If they had, you'd have done something about it, wouldn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the day after Layla passed, did you and Jason come over to check on the Rosenbaums and bring food?
I don't recall coming over the next day, maybe.
Did you come over after that and bring food?
Probably.
So you stayed friends with them after that for a period of time?
For a little bit.
And did you ever call was there ever a time during the time that you knew and were seeing the Rosenbaums, did you ever see any bruises, abrasions, cuts, or lacerations on either child?
No.
Thank you. That's all I have at this time.
All right, thank you, Ms. Wells.
Good afternoon, Ms. Zoeckler. We had a chance to talk a few weeks ago, correct?
Yes.
All right. Then just briefly out in the hallway, right?
Yes.
All right. You mentioned to Ms. Mull, she asked you friends after Layla's passing, and you mentioned for a little bit. Are you no longer friends?
Well, we don't talk anymore.
And why is that?
We just distance ourselves during the trial.
Distance yourself from the trial? Mm-hmm. Okay. And do you, did Jennifer ever say anything to you or your husband after Layla's death and before their arrest?
She stopped by once, walking shortly after.
And she said to you that you were going to hear a whole bunch of lies in the media, correct?
Yes.
Did you stay friends with her for much longer after that?
A little while.
But as you stand here today, you no longer communicate, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Mull asked you about whether or not they favored any arms. Did you ever get down and feel on Layla's arm?
No.
Especially in the weeks leading up to her death, did you ever feel her arm?
No.
Did you ever really pay that close of attention to her arm?
No.
And her leg, you're aware that her leg was broken, correct?
Yes.
In fact, Jennifer told you that she broke her leg, correct?
Correct.
And what did she tell you about that?
That she broke it at gymnastics.
Did she mention anything else about how she broke her leg?
Just gymnastics.
So she didn't mention that she also hurt her leg at Nana's house before that, correct?
No.
Did she mention that she had brought the child to several different treating doctors?
No,
Did she mention that one of those doctors had wanted her to go to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta to get additional treatment, and
No.
she did not do that?
no, she didn't.
Okay. Ms. Mole asked you a series of questions about whether or not you are a mandated reporter.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to ask you this, and I apologize for doing this in advance, okay?
Okay.
If you were, I'm going to show you, and it's going to show up on the screen behind you. If you were to see State's Exhibit 80, would that cause you concern as a mandated reporter?
Yes,
And why is that?
because that doesn't look like something that would just happen.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 78. Would that cause you concern as a mandated reporter?
Yes.
And why is that?
I mean, without context, it looks like a lot of force.
I'm going to show you the interior of Layla's leg. If you had seen that as a mandated reporter, would that have caused you concern?
Yes.
Now, did you see any of these things in the weeks leading up to Layla's death?
No.
When's the last time you actually saw Layla alive?
Probably Halloween, probably, briefly.
So that would have been about 2.5 weeks prior to her death, correct?
Correct.
Did you State's Exhibit 27? If you saw that on Layla's neck, would that cause you concern?
Some, yes.
State's Exhibit 1. If that's what you observed, would that cause you concern?
Definitely.
Now, Ms. Mull asked you about diapers. Was there ever any mention about any kind of rash from a diaper?
No.
So Jennifer never mentioned anything to you about needing Huggies, or specifically Huggies?
Not that I recall.
The church daycare, that was only on Sundays, wasn't it?
During services.
During services. They didn't actually have a daycare at Turning Point during the week, correct?
No, they don't.
Were you aware that Jennifer had told people, including the defects caseworker, that the children were in daycare?
I was not aware.
As a mandated reporter, would that have concerned you?
Yes.
Were you aware that she had told the biological family that the children were in daycare?
No.
And if you found out that wasn't true, would that concern you as well?
Yes.
One of the things that you mentioned to me when we were speaking on the phone is that you were in fact good friends with them, correct? Mm-hmm. But you also admitted to me that you don't know what people do behind closed doors. Is that correct?
Correct.
Nothing further.
Would you want to know the context behind the injuries before you made a decision to report as a mandated reporter?
No, you're actually told not to ask questions.
So you don't care about the context?
If
You
I
mentioned context earlier with Mr.
Yeah.
Chase. So context concern you or not concern you?
not with that, no.
Okay. Thank you.
Nothing further. Thank you. You step down.
My excuse.
Any objection to the witness being excused?
Not in the state.
No objection.
All right, you're excused.
Yeah.
Raise your right hand, please. Ms. Mull.
Raise your hand, but you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Ms. Yandle, do you recall,
Also, we have to have a state of the Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute stretch break. If you would please just step into the rear holding room. You'll just step down. Mr. Chase is going to speak to you.
we're at a brief recess. Thank you.
I know Ms. Mull would like to take another witness first because I think that witness has some, family member has some medical issues. I do have an objection though to Ms. Yandle at all. I just don't see the relevance of her testimony. So I don't know if that's something you want to take up now before the jury comes back in.
Okay.
I did have a chance to speak to Ms. Yandle in the hallway. She treated Millie in November of 2017, so 2 years later. Millie came in for a sprained ankle that she had gotten on the playground. She did happen to be in the custody of Peggy Banks. After a couple of weeks, they did everything, what they'll say is they did everything right. After a couple of weeks, it was still bothering, so they brought her in. When they brought her in, she had what's called an avulsion fracture. The avulsion fracture is essentially from a twisting, like you might do on a playground. And then what happens is the ligament kind of like takes off a little bit of the end of the fracture. I don't see the relevance of this because this happened 2 years after the offense. I understand that the defense would probably like to talk about it because the fact that Millie was in the custody of her great-grandmother when she had a completely unrelated fracture might be fodder for them to explore and close an argument. But it's simply not relevant to the case that we are dealing with here because the defendants are on trial for instances that occurred in 2015.
Well, the state brought up the fact that, and made a big deal out of the fact that there was a delay in seeking treatment by the Rosenbaums. In this case, Peggy Banks similarly had delay in seeking treatment of Millie. If it's not objectionable as to Ms. Banks, then it shouldn't be held against the Rosenbaums either. The state has made a great deal of hay out of the fact that Jennifer took 2 days to report her broken leg. And this is the same amount of time that Peggy Banks took, and nobody's calling Peggy Banks an abuser. And I want to contrast that.
Well, what about the objection is one of time. That this is something that occurred in 2015, and the witness is going to be testifying to something that happened 2 years later. What's your response to that?
My response is the point is not when it occurred, the point is that it occurred, that there was delay in seeking treatment, and that the state was not bound at their door, at Ms. Banks' door, to seek any type of arrest warrant against her for delay in obtaining treatment. And I think it basically goes to show that the state is being selective in who it seeks to have arrested for abuse and who it doesn't.
Yes.
The third reason would be because Millie was in Peggy Banks' care, and Peggy Banks has not been excluded as someone that could have hurt Millie, who could have provided the injuries that are attributed to the Rosenbaums.
Response to that, please.
Well, I think all of the evidence that has been presented thus far at trial would exclude Ms. Banks and point directly at the Rosenbaums. Ultimately, that would be a jury issue. But I think that the evidence that's been deduced so far is that Peggy Banks barely had contact with Layla, especially in the months leading up to her death. She had more contact with Millie, but there was absolutely no contact with Peggy in the weeks leading up to Layla's death and the discovery of the injuries on Millie. I'm sure that the defense would like to talk about this, but Ms. Banks isn't on trial.
But there's contact between Layla and the children, not in that 2 weeks, but prior to that. Are you true? During the time that the Rosenbaums had custody?
There were limited times when Peggy Banks had children. We also heard from Mary Rosenbaum earlier today. She also had exclusive custody and control of the children during a certain period of time too.
Well, that's true. And the question is just one of relevance. It's not not accrediting any particular view. I'm going to allow it. All right, is there anything else?
Mr. Chase is right. We'd like to call Joyce Spears next and wait on Ms. Yandle because Ms. Spears' daughter's water broke.
Let's go ahead and have the jury step out. Okay, we're back, and here's that the sequence or order of witnesses is going to change. Ms. Mulder.
Joyce Spears, please. Joyce Spears.
And please remember to have them identify themselves and spell their name. Right up here, please. Ma'am, right through that front gate. And then walk around toward the jury into this box. And then raise your right hand.
Ms. Spears, would you, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You may sit. Please tell us what your occupation or profession is,
I'm a pharmacist.
and where are you a pharmacist?
I'm now at Moyes Jackson and Monticello Drugs, but previously I had been at Walmart Pharmacy from 1991 until March of last year.
And where is that pharmacy, that Walmart pharmacy located?
Here in McDonough at exit 218.
Okay. And do you know Jennifer Rosenbaum?
I do.
And how do you know her?
Jennifer and Joseph both were my patients at Walmart.
Okay. Did you have occasion to see her with the girls, with her foster children?
I saw her one time with one child.
And what was the circumstances and where did that occur?
I was the pharmacist on duty that day, and I believe the child had a rash. She was sitting in the front part of the buggy. Jennifer just came up and asked what she could do until she could get her to the doctor. I asked the age. It was under the age of 6. Told her she could just use a cream or something, and unless the child had previously had Benadryl or anything that wasn't recommended for anyone of that age, that she could go on a doctor's recommendations. But other than that, I could just recommend a cream.
And did you notice anything about her eyes when you saw her there?
I don't know,
Okay.
not that I know of, one way or another.
But you saw a little girl in the buggy.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that alarmed you about that little girl?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Fears.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Ms. Spears.
Hi.
My name is Myrna Andrews. I believe we spoke on the phone maybe a week or two ago.
Yes.
When was the date that you saw Jen and that one child in the buggy?
I honestly it was a couple of years ago. 2 or 3 years ago, I guess. I don't even remember what time of year it was or anything.
And is it common for parents to come to you with asking for a cream or what to do about a rash on the
Oh,
child?
absolutely. They look at us as prescribers, which we're not.
And Do you remember where this rash was on the child?
I believe it was like on the torso, somewhere on the stomach area.
And did you ever see the child unclothed at all?
No,
Okay. So you didn't see anything that, you didn't see any parts of her skin, like the back or the front?
I think, and keep in mind, we filled 700 or 800 prescriptions a day, so I saw lots of people. But I do believe that she did maybe raise her shirt or something like that. I believe it was on the stomach area, but I could not swear to that. That's just to the best of my memory.
And do you know the name of the child?
I do not. But I do remember her introducing her, but I do not remember her name.
And other than that one interaction, that's the only time you saw that child with
That I
Ms.
knew,
Rosenbaum?
that I remember, yes.
And you don't know anything about the incident that happened on November 17 of 2015, do you?
I mean, I know at the time, being the pharmacist at Walmart and working with a lot of people, and Jennifer and Joseph came into the store frequently. I mean, we knew because of the report,
Okay.
but have not.
You didn't have any personal knowledge?
No.
You weren't there on November
No,
17?
No.
Okay.
Well,
You weren't there?
not that I know of. I don't know if I worked that day or not, but not anywhere around Jennifer
You
or
weren't at,
Joseph.
you weren't at Jennifer and Joseph Rosenbaum's home on November 17?
No, never been there.
You've never been there?
No, never been
You've
there.
never seen what happened in their home?
No, ever.
You're not friends with them?
No.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Was the little girl, could you give us an idea of the age range? Was it somebody that was 2 and under or 4?
I know she was 6 or under, and I want to say she was probably 2 or 3, maybe 4, but she was young and in the front of the buggy, riding in the child section of the buggy.
Okay. And so it would be 4 versus a 2-year-old, correct?
I'm really not sure.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hughes.
Okay.
Anything else, Ms. Andrews?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, you can step down.
Yes,
And you're
sir.
excused.
Thank you.
Let's call our next witness.
We would call Ms. Yandle to the stand. Amber Gilliard. We'll put you under oath again. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. If you just have a seat. Ms. Yandle, how do you spell your name?
Amberyandle.
And what is your name?
Amber Yandle.
Amber Yandle. What do you do for a living, Ms. Yandle?
I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner.
And where are you a pediatric nurse practitioner?
POTS Pediatrics.
And how long have you been there?
Close to 2 years.
I want to take you back to November 9th, 2017. Do you recall x-rays being ordered for Millie Place?
I do.
And do you recall the date when those, that x-ray was ordered?
No.
Let me show you a document and see if it helps refresh your recollection.
Okay. It was November 9th, 2017.
Tell me what she was there for.
She came in because she had injured her right ankle. I believe the story was that 4 weeks prior, she was running and injured her ankle, and Grandma had given her rest, ice, compression, elevation, and Motrin like we would typically recommend. And then the day that she came in, her ankle was swollen, so she brought her in because she fell on the playground.
And was this great grandma?
I don't know.
Do you remember the name Peggy Banks? Does that ring any bells?
It doesn't. I think the note says maternal grandmother.
Maternal grandmother, okay. With regards to that, did you have any subsequent to November 9th, did you see any x-rays being produced?
I did.
Let me show you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit 67. And ask you if you can identify that.
So this is my first time seeing the x-ray. When we get the report back, it's just kind of dictated. I can't really tell where the fracture is, to be honest with you.
No, I'm just asking you, what is that?
Oh, it's a right ankle x-ray
For whom?
for Millie Place.
And what is the date on there?
It is 11/13/17.
Thank you. I would tender Defendant's Exhibit 67 into the record at this time.
Admitted.
So let me make sure I understand. She was ordered to she got an order from Dr. Potts to get an x-ray on November 9th, correct?
Yes, I ordered that.
You ordered that. And did you tell her where she was to go to get it?
We usually have the front desk girls let them know where they can get the imaging done.
Okay. And isn't it true that this imaging was done at Hudson Bridge, Eagles Landing?
I can't remember.
See if this refreshes your recollection.
Yes.
And isn't it true that's open 7 days a week?
It is.
And it took 3 days before Millie was taken to get her x-rays, correct?
According to the dates, yes.
And she was taken to CHOA Urgent Care at Hudson Bridge on November 13th, correct?
Yes, to get the x-rays.
And are you aware that she had had complaints like this for 3 or 4 other times?
That was part of the history that I received.
Thank you. That's all I have at this time.
Thank you, Cross.
Thank you, Judge. And at this time, I move into evidence states 476, 477, 478, 479. They are self-authenticating their Millie's medical records and previously provided to
Any objection? Permitted.
Now, let's talk a little bit more about this visit, okay?
Okay.
You, when Millie came to you, it's my understanding that her grandmother had said that there were some complaints for a few weeks, correct?
Correct.
And I think you said that they did rest, correct? Mm-hmm. Ice
Yes.
and Motrin, correct?
Yes.
And those are the things that you would expect someone to do for the type of injury that she presented with, correct?
Yes, for like an ankle sprain or if you twist an ankle.
So and when you first examined her, you thought that this was just a twisted ankle, correct?
I did.
You thought it was just a sprain, and you did not think it was actually going to be any kind of fracture.
No, and I do remember because Millie was so active and kind of walking on it, I thought that it was probably just a sprain.
Okay, so she was active and walking around, but they came in because it was swollen, correct?
Yes.
And you put a splint on it, correct? Or
She had one at home.
okay, so she actually had one at home that she brought Millie in wearing, correct?
I got it from the orthopedic note that she had one at home, so I can't remember if she had it at the visit or not.
Okay, but was that something that you recommended that she go and that she wear?
Yes, along with doing the Motrin too.
Did you recommend that she go immediately to, I don't know, Eggleston Hospital?
No, I really just didn't feel like it was broken, so I didn't say rush over there.
Okay. If someone that you're treating, if you advise them that they need to go to the hospital and they don't, is that concerning to you?
It is.
And why is that?
Because I would want them to closely follow up to make sure that everything is okay as a caregiver.
Did you, the fact that it was 3 days for the type of injury that you saw, did you think that that was, took 3 days to get the x-ray, did you think that was alarming?
Not if the condition was improving with the stuff that I told her to do at home, I wouldn't be concerned.
Okay, and what did you tell her to do at home?
The Motrin and bracing it and just continuing like the rest ice the home.
So all the things that she'd already been doing, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, this type of injury that Millie had, you can easily get that by playing on the playground, correct?
I believe so.
And it's a kind of a twisting of the ankle motion?
Yes.
All right. Was this type of injury, in your opinion, highly suspicious for abuse?
No.
Now, are you aware of what that she actually did go to see Mr. Coppinger, who's the physician assistant? Correct?
Yes, I received his notes.
You received his notes, and you reviewed his notes.
I did.
And what did he do after he saw Millie?
He, I believe it said, continue to wear the brace at home and just kind of keep off of it. And I don't know if there was a follow-up after that with him or not, but
Okay.
That's all I remember.
So what he did is he just had her continue to wear the brace, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The brace that the grandmother had already had her wearing, correct?
Yes.
All right. So his treatment plan was just continue what you're doing.
Continue, yes.
He also done some recommendation perhaps for some physical therapy and also do some at-home exercises, correct?
Yes.
All right. Did you see Millie again?
I did. I can't remember the date. It was a few weeks later.
Was there still concern about her did you treat her for her ankle at that point?
I didn't. It was a different type of exam, so I didn't focus on the musculoskeletal system.
Okay. And if there had still been some major concerns, do you think that might have been something that was noted?
Absolutely.
Okay. Nothing further.
What type of fracture was it that Millie had?
I believe an avulsion fracture.
Thank you, Ms. Ferris. I'm sorry, thank you, Ms. Yandle.
An avulsion fracture is essentially when a little piece of the bone is kind of ripped off by the tendon, correct?
Correct.
So that's something that's very consistent with twisting your ankle, correct?
Correct.
Nothing further.
Anything else for this witness? Thank you, ma'am. You can step down. And let's be excused.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're free to go. State will call this next witness. Or that's will call this next
Debbie
witness.
Britt.
Debbie Britt.
Debbie Britt.
Back here, please.
Ms. Britt, would you raise your hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Could you state your name and spell it for the jury, please?
Debbie Britt.
Spell it if you would.
Debbie Britt.
Ms. Britt, if you know Jennifer, how do you know her?
Jennifer and I met at Young Republican meetings and just around McDonough. I had a law practice in McDonough around that time, and so we first met there.
And she and you shared community political interests, is that fair to say?
I went to the Young Republican meetings. We worked on Brian Strickland's campaign for state representative.
Okay. You also served as a guest panelist for her at Emory?
I did.
And what was that conference about at Emory? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly. I went to talk about child custody arrangements, but I don't remember the title of the program.
Was it about the challenges of fostering and adopting?
It could have been. I don't remember the exact title.
And at some point, did you find out that Jennifer had foster daughters?
I did.
And when you did so, what came after that? What of significance happened after that?
I don't know. I don't know what you're asking.
Okay. With regards to how did you come to know she had foster children?
I don't remember how, like the exact moment I found out, but I was cleaning out some of my children's toys and clothing, and Jennifer reached out to buy some of the clothes I was selling, girl clothes of my daughters.
And did you have occasion to take those clothes over to Jennifer's house?
Yes, I had a stack for, the size ranges that she was looking at, and I went over to the house with the clothes.
And did you and she undress the girls and dress them up in the clothes to try them on?
I didn't. I didn't undress anybody. I just was there for her to go through the clothes and pick them out. I do recall her trying on some of the clothes on at least one of the girls. I can't really remember if it was both of them.
Do you recall saying that she tried on multiple outfits for Millie and Layla?
I don't remember the names, but I do. She tried on more than one outfits.
And in fact, didn't she purchase the entire lot?
I can't remember, but I also can't really remember leaving with any. So it wasn't that much, so she might have.
Now, on October 30th, and first of all, let me ask you, when do you think this was that you went over to the house?
I have tried to think about that, and I really don't remember. I do think it was on the weekend, and it was around dinner time. I don't remember it being particularly cold, but because I would have had coats and things like that, but I just can't place it.
When you saw the child that you saw undressed, did you see any cuts, bruises, lesions of any sort?
I didn't.
Anything alarming to you?
No, it seemed like a normal, the older girl was kind of dancing around happy about clothes, and we were in the kitchen, and there was TV on in the living room, and I think the girls were back and forth, seeing us or going to the living room, so nothing seemed out of place or anything.
Okay. Now, next time you saw them, when was that, do you think?
So in the fall time, I don't know exactly what date, but there's a trick-or-treat program that is sometimes on the square, and I had a law office during that time. And that would have been late September or sometime in October of, I think, 2015, because that's when I had that particular office there. And I set up a little table with some candy on the table and was part of that trick-or-treat program. And she came by with at least one of the girls. I can't really remember if it was both, but I think she came by with the one that was able to walk along with her.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you, just so that we get the dates right, would it help to refresh your recollection to look at some documents to get the dates right about when you saw the girls first and second time?
Maybe.
Ms. Moore, may I see those documents?
Does this help to refresh your recollection?
So the first document that you're showing me, it looks like a screenshot, and it looks like we were messaging on Facebook about the clothes, and it appears to be dated August 18th, 2015. Yeah, the only thing that's strange about that date is that's my daughter's birthday, so it would have been kind of strange for us not to be celebrating her birthday that day, but not necessarily. But that timeline doesn't sound wrong to me. Like if we went to talk about the clothes in August and then saw her a couple months later at the trick-or-treat thing, that makes sense.
And would the trick-or-treat thing have been on October 30th, 2015?
Let me see. So again, just looking at the date, it looks like I posted some photos of doing the trick-or-treat, and it appears to be dated October 30th. I don't have any reason to dispute that. That sounds about right.
I'm going to show you what I've marked as defendant's exhibit. Defendant's exhibit 75, and ask you to identify that if you would.
May I see it?
You saw it already.
Oh, this is the same one?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So it looks like a Facebook post that I did of the trick-or-treat, some visitors that came by our table.
Mm-hmm. And who were the visitors that came by your table?
So in the top right-hand corner, I see Jennifer and her husband and two little girls. I'm not sure who the other children in the top left, and bottom right are. And then in the bottom left is me and my daughter at the trick-or-treat table.
Thank you. This time I will tender defendant's exhibit 75 into the record and ask to publish.
You may publish.
And so you said you don't know who is in the right or left, top left and bottom right pictures?
I don't know who any of the children are.
Okay.
I don't recognize any of the children specifically.
Do you recognize the children that are with the Rosenbaums as being one of the girls that you tried on clothes with?
I don't.
Okay. But you posted these pictures?
Mm-hmm.
And
I did.
And you posted these pictures on October 30th, 2015, correct?
That's what it says, and I don't have any reason to dispute that.
Thank you. That's all I have at this time.
Any questions?
Good afternoon, Ms. Britt. My name is Myrna Andrews. I believe we spoke on the phone a few days ago.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a few questions for you. You indicated that you went over to Ms. Rosenbaum's home on August 18 of 2015?
According to the Facebook message, I didn't recall the date, but I don't have any reason to think it wasn't that date.
Okay. And were you aware that nowhere in the indictment that we're in court for today is the date August 18 of 2015?
I don't have any knowledge about the indictment at all.
Okay. And the last time you saw Jen and Joseph with the girls was October 30th of 2015?
If those are the girls, I mean, yes. I'm sorry, I just
No,
don't.
that's fine. That's fine.
I only really did see them twice in my recollection, once at the house and once then, so I don't have any reason to think that they're not those girls, but I just don't
That's fine.
know them.
And you never, on October 30th, you saw them dressed as they were in that photograph, to the best of your recollection?
Yes.
Okay, you never saw their bare legs, their bare arms, bare skin at all?
In October?
Correct.
Not that I recall,
Okay.
no.
And when was the last time that you spoke with Jennifer Rosenbaum?
I don't recall.
Did she ever call you from the hospital?
She did.
And was that on the date of November 17, 2015?
I don't recall the date. That sounds about right. I recall it being in November because I was in the process of moving out of that McDonough office. And so I just kind of put that together in my memory.
Did she call you the date that Layla died?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the conversation about?
She just called and told me that she had passed away, and I recall there being a concern of hers that she was being questioned. I can't recall by whom, someone in a position of authority, but I can't recall exactly by whom. And I told her that I thought that she might want to talk to an attorney before she was questioned. And I gave her the names of a couple of criminal attorneys that I knew that might, be appropriate for any questions she might be asked.
So she called you to let you know that she was concerned about some questioning on the night of November 17 of 2015?
And to let me know, what had happened.
And asked for some names of some attorneys?
I probably brought that up. I don't know exactly. I don't recall, if she asked me or if I offered, but that would have just been my common response if anyone had called me, given me such news, and telling me that they were being questioned. I would say, well, I would recommend that you talk to an attorney, and I knew that it wouldn't be me. So I didn't practice that type of law.
Okay. And you were in the home of the Rosenbaums on November 17 of 2015?
No.
Never in their home November 16, 2015?
No.
Never in their home November 15 of
No.
2015? Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
I am unclear, Ms. Britt, the date that you talked to Jennifer and went to her house and saw the girls try on clothes, or at least one girl try on clothes, was what date?
Could I see that piece of paper again? Because I'm not sure it said that I was going over that day. This is a different piece of paper.
See if that helps refresh your recollection.
So this doesn't say that I'm going over there, but it seems like the conversation is giving me her address, and it seems like that's telling me she's available then and I could go over then. It doesn't say I'm on my way or I'm coming over. This is dated August 23rd. It kind of makes a little more sense than August 18th, that being my daughter's birthday. So I wouldn't have thought I would have been going somewhere to sell baby clothes on her birthday. So I don't have any reason to think it wasn't August 23rd, but I don't have a distinct memory of that either.
Let me show you what I've shown the state and see if that refreshes your recollection anymore.
This is the same piece of paper.
Is it not the one talking about what time you all would be here, 5 minutes?
It's the same one you just showed me?
Yes, I understand
Okay.
that, but isn't that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it looks like it is.
It looks like it is what?
It looks like it's saying that I would be there in 5 minutes.
And on what date was that?
August 23rd.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
2015?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You can sit down. And can you be excused? All right, thank you. Thank you, Paul. Next witness.
I would call Judith Davis to the stand. Judith Davis.
Judith Davis.
If you may approach this briefly.
Yes. 1 second, please.
That's fine. Jason Davis, is that Judith Davis?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 10-minute break and come back. Thank you.